Hello, Namaskar and a very good evening to all the viewers watching NCRT's live interactive session. I am Simran Singh and you have all connected with us through eVidya channel number 6 to 12. And besides this, we have so many different mediums through which you all can connect with us. You can also participate in our live sessions by raising your queries, your questions in the comment section of our YouTube channel, that is NCRT Official. So viewers, it's around 4 p.m. on your watch, and regularly from 4 till 5 p.m. we have our special sessions for all of you. And once again, I would like to take the moment to welcome all of you in our 5 days online training running on pedagogical perspective of virtual labs on Diksha. So it's the 4th day of our online training session. We started the training sessions on 10th of July. We are going to conclude these training sessions tomorrow, that is on 14th of July. Today we are going to elaborate at length about the pedagogical usage of virtual labs for the subject languages, and specifically we will be discussing about English. So as we all know that technological advancements, they are surely a boon for the society, but at the same time they might pose certain threats or challenges in front of us. Therefore, young learners have to be equipped with a problem solving or creative learning or critical thinking skills. And for that, pedagogy or education must evolve in a way that it becomes more experiential, inquiry driven, discovery oriented, discussion based, flexible and at the same time enjoyable. And while talking about virtual labs, they provide equality access to every child despite the number of challenges that they face, so that we can virtually try and access our hands on the different laboratories that we might or might not receive in the physical world. And at the same time, these experiments can be performed anytime, anywhere. In these live sessions, if you have any of the queries, you know the different mediums through which you can contact us. One of them is our contact number. It is right there on your screens. In case of doubts, feel free to give us a call at 8800440559. And the specific mail IDs are also right there on your screen, and one of them for specifically our training sessions is training.helpdesk@ciet.nic.in. So let me quickly take you across the areas, the different topics that we have discussed for the past 3 days. So on 10th of July, we provided you more information regarding virtual labs, the policy perspective, the need and the scope. Then on 11th of July, that was the second day of our online training session, we discussed more about virtual labs as a learning tool. On the third day, that is 10th of July, yesterday, we elaborated more on pedagogical usage of virtual labs for mathematics. Today it is going to be the about the pedagogical usage of virtual labs for English, and tomorrow, that is the concluding day of our online training session, on 14th of July, we are going to discuss on pedagogical usage of virtual labs for the subject science. And once we conclude our training session, that is tomorrow, there is a post session activity for all the viewers, all the audiences who would like to attempt the post session activity, share their feedback with us. And at the same time, if you attempt the post session activity and you score over 70%, then you will be able to receive a certificate from CIET NCRT. And in case if you haven't received, or if you will not receive your certificate on your mail, so do check the spam mail as well, and you will be able to receive the certificate within 1 month of attempting the quiz. And further details regarding the online training session and who all can participate, the registration, that will be provided towards the end of this session. So stay connected with us throughout the program. So now, as I informed you that it's the 4th day of our online training program, we are going to discuss on pedagogical usage of virtual labs for English, and for that we are joined by an expert in the studio. Allow me to introduce you to Dr. Amit Ranjan sir. Namaskar sir, good evening.
Namaskar.
We welcome you. He is serving as assistant professor at CIET NCRT. So without further ado, sir, what all do we have for our learners today?
Sure. We have this presentation first, and then we'll have a look at the virtual lab of Diksha. As you can see, the presentation is called Virtually Yours. It's a pun on the salutations that we use in letters: sincerely yours, faithfully yours. Now it's become virtually yours because we use so much of our gadgets, and we use so much screen time that eventually we all connect virtually more than really, and therefore it's called Virtually Yours, this presentation. Also mark learners that there is yours is spelled Y-O-U-R-S without an apostrophe. That is a mistake you make. So, being language literature person, I have to point out that common mistake as well. All right. So, this session is about Diksha's portal and how the virtual lab on it works. So, there will be a demonstration of that, but first let us discuss the idea of virtual lab itself. What is a virtual lab after all, and why we need it. So, what is a virtual lab after all? And again, being a literature person, I like going back into words where they have come from to understand them better. Virtual, you would be surprised, now we think of it only as things on the screen, things that are projected onto some kind of a digital medium. But virtual, where does the word come from? It actually comes from the word virtue. Can you believe that? The word virtue for goodness is where it comes from. So, I have mapped where these words come from, and which will give us a better understanding of where we stand today in terms of understanding the idea of the virtual. So, the Latin word virtualis, which means excellence, potency, efficacy, is from 14th century, and this leads to the English word virtue, which we understand as goodness, that let us be virtuous, he performed several virtues in his life, and so on and so forth, which means the person was good, saying that this person was virtuous, right. And so, it also has the sense of excellence, potency, efficacy, something that is effective in the social term. And from that meaning, it changes to, as you can see the second point, being something in essence or effect, though not in actually or in fact. That is 100 years later in the 15th century, through the sense of capable of producing a certain effect. So, initially we saw that something that is excellent is virtue, but it is also potent, it is also effective, and from the sense of it being effective, that became the real sense of the word gradually. And much later in 1959, as you can see on your screen, computer sense of not physically existing, but made to appear by software. So, that is the sense that we understand today of virtual, but it comes from the idea of efficiency and virtue and goodness. That also we have to keep in mind. And lab, many people probably also do not know that lab is actually laboratory. It is a shortened version. And where does that come from? It comes from laboratorium, which is medieval Latin for a place for labor or work. So, it is basically a workshop, and which is why the idea of labor or hard work, it comes from that. So, any place which was set apart for scientific experiments, that is how it was used in 16th century. So, the original meaning of a virtual lab, let us say 500 years ago, would be a scientific lab which is efficient. And so, now our understanding of virtual lab is software produced effects which imitate or simulate reality, and which we see through various gadgets and devices. And so, but we have to understand that the original sense of the word, of it being effective, is what the intent of virtual lab is, to be an addendum to the classroom, that in the classroom we are performing certain activities and the virtual will be more effective, and that is the original sense of the word. And the disclaimer over here is that there is no replacement for the real classroom, for any real interaction in the world. But now that we are using artificial intelligence, it is to augment our efforts into learning, because we can do things online, we can do things outside the classroom, on the go, we can repeat them, and we can do a lot of practice exercise, we can do a lot of simulation what cannot be done in a real classroom, but nonetheless a real classroom interaction is something else. Alright, so how do we use virtual labs for language learning? So, in terms of language learning, there are four key skills, which is called the LSRW, or listening, speaking, reading and writing. These are the key skills, and that is the methodology of language learning generally. Now, all these skills are easy to put online or put on an app or a software, because our gadgets are equipped with these things. Initially, it was reading and writing that your devices would be capable of laptops, and then desktops, and then gradually it evolves to listening as well, and now speaking as well. Now you have text to speech and speech to text softwares, and so on and so forth, and there can be online feedback for how you are speaking as well as you can watch videos or audio clips of how things are pronounced and so on and so forth. So now electronically we can use all the 4 methods of learning a language: listening, speaking, reading, writing, which are the 4 key skills. So language labs can assist with all the 4 skills, and as said earlier, these apps can be used on the go, whether you are riding in the metro, you are sitting under a tree, before sleeping, whatever, you want to take a test, and you get instant feedback because the answers are pre-fed. And also there is a lot of collaborative online learning where machine is also learning, and so on and so forth. So you can repeat exercises, you can practice, and you get feedback instantly, which is very gratifying, because otherwise we appear for tests and it takes months to get the result. By that time we have forgotten what the test was. So here you get instant feedback, and that is one of the key strengths of any online learning tool. And also performance analysis would help practice better. As you analyze your own performance, you are able to point out your own mistakes. On the other hand, the people who prepare the modules, the people who prepare these tests and the modules on the apps and on the labs, they get feedback from you of what the common mistakes people make are. For example, just at the beginning of this presentation, I pointed out that yours is spelled Y-O-U-R-S without an apostrophe, because I know as a teacher that is one of the most common mistake, putting that extra apostrophe after yours, because you think it is a possessive case. And so I am able to give this feedback. Similarly, a machine is able to give feedback if 100 people make the same mistake. That will be highlighted in the exercise. That sentence will appear again and again in various exercises, so that mistake is rooted out. All right. And there are lots of fun elements that can be incorporated. There are lots of things that can be integrated into the classroom with virtual lab and purely online as well. So for example, real time quizzing, one teaches a class and then one asks questions, and we have various quizzing tools by which students can answer in real time, and the answers, so the whole fun of having a game like atmosphere where the results of the quiz are announced instantly. And then this is the age of social media where people are posting stuff on Instagram and Snapchat and other apps. What Language Lab can also do is use those elements, and we can have role playing videos in which grammatical elements can be introduced, as well as elements from literature. You can pick up famous conversations, speeches, plays, play act them into videos, and these can be done through a language lab. And of course gaming, like I said, quizzing is one of the sorts of games, but there can be lots of games which are language related. There can be preposition games. You take a cat, whether the cat is under the table or over the table or on the table, across the table, so on and so forth. And you can have even more complicated games in which you are asked to solve certain grammatical or literary problems by which you move to the next stage, and so on and so forth. The possibilities are immense and intense. There is also art integrated learning. We will see some of it on Diksha's virtual lab as well. I just gave you the example of prepositions, that maybe you can have a cat and place it in different places, and so on and so forth. But art integrated learning is a much wider field. So the whole idea is that we understand creative stuff better than stuff that is for rote learning, and so anything that is more creatively done is something we remember much more deeply. So, for example, you are studying a story, say yesterday we were discussing Alif Laila, we discussing a story from Arabian Nights, and places like Baghdad or Tashkent come up in it, and we can map them on a map online and integrate it with history, with geography, while you construct sentences. And we can, there are several possibilities of combining language learning with history, with geography, and art integrated learning also has tremendous possibilities, and all of this is eminently possible online and makes it much more interesting. And art integrated learning, along with art integrated learning, there is also interdisciplinary learning. So, like I just mentioned, you can learn about history, geography, lots of other subjects. You can learn about mathematics and science while studying literature, or vice versa. And these can be integrated into language labs online, where you can see how we are studying different disciplines while studying one story. And literature, stories are the mother of all disciplines. They contain our story, they contain the whole human history, whether we have studied science or maths, or how the apple fell on Newton's head and he was perturbed about it, he discovered gravity, and so on and so forth. This is literature, and at the same time, so language learning is not outside of understanding, or outside of cognition, or outside of narratives. A language is constructed in a story form. Anything that you are saying is a story. The cat jumped on the rat, it is a story of the cat jumping on the rat, and so on and so forth. So, language cannot be learned independent of the knowledge production or the larger narratives, and so we have to understand that as well. So, these are just how to harness the fun elements, and we can do collaborative learning and creating together online. That's also a very interesting possibility these days. For example, we have to learn rhyme, and so different students make different statements that rhyme. I say I was walking in the rain, and you say I was walking in pain, for example. Or somebody else says, oh, my shirt had a stain, and this is eminently possible online. People sitting in different places, and once you give them the idea of what is to be done, students really enjoy this kind of exercise a lot. Or you give them a line for a story, and then the second student, third student, and so on, they have to carry the story forward in just 2 lines. So, they have to give an idea.
They connect the dots and they go on and go on.
Absolutely. So, these are creative exercises which develop our ability for collaboration, for learning, as well as language learning. So, the possibilities of using virtual labs, online tools are tremendous. The bigger picture, that it is not merely, when we are talking of virtual labs, people think of it merely being one software through which they navigate and they learn something, and it's that interaction between that medium and you. The language lab is a much bigger idea. In fact, language itself is a lab. Why? And we think of technology in very narrow terms. Language itself is a technology, because language is random.
It keeps on evolving.
No, language is also random. What you say, why does it mean what it means? Why does a dog mean a dog?
Yeah.
You have seen exercises where a cat is called a dog, and therefore this is called that, and that is called that, then what is called what. You have seen exercises like that. So, the naming of things, or the construction of language itself is technical, itself is highly technical. And when I say dog, you think of a generic dog. There is no specific dog that is there in mind. There is an idea of a dog, of a creature which has these features, and so on and so forth. It could have been named a cat. So, language is also a technology. We have assigned certain signs to certain things, and we use those signs very effectively. So, we have to think of this in broader terms of what the idea of virtual lab is, and also in the original sense of the word of efficient. So, efficient technology is virtual lab. And the online space is ever expanding and tremendous, and apart from the tools that we will demonstrate through Diksha, there's endless stuff. And now the books, it was earlier very difficult to get hold of books. You had to go to library, you had to be part of an institution and so on and so forth. But digital archiving has brought everything on the internet. So anything, any book that is more than 60 years old is probably there on Google Books or archive.org. And it's also very interesting to learn roots of words, like we saw initially with virtual and lab. For that there is itimonline.com. So that shows you the journey of how meanings change, how as the world evolves, as world's technology evolves, meanings change. There are also TV shows like Mind Your Language or Mr. Iglesias and several others which also. So there's, what I mean to say is that there's a whole world in the online world where one can enhance our capabilities linguistically. But our focus today is Diksha, but just before that is an emerging field, this especially for teachers more than students, called digital humanities. So initially the digital world was seen as world that would harness new avenues in science and technology and the STEM fields. But now we are seeing that the potential of the field of humanities, which is literature, arts and allied fields, is also growing manyfold by using digital technology. So for example, now we have machine learning. So while we speak into our machines, this data gets collected, and that's how Google has evolved its translation tools and speech to text tools and so on and so forth, by collecting data of a large number of people, their speech patterns, how they speak, or what you, the Alexa and the Siri kind of softwares that you use at home, all these getting tuned to your ears to understand, because Americans speak different than us, British speak different than us, and so on and so forth. And so the machine is learning very fast as we feed data into it, and it's adapting to our pronunciation and diction, and it will help also in future, it will help us improve our pronunciation and diction, as also innovate. It's not that there is any one standard method of saying things. It will also, there will also be lots of innovations, like the Africans, the Caribbean people innovated with English language. And similarly, as machine learns more and more about how diversely people use the language, we will also learn innovation alongside with it. And also machine learning, these labs that we have will be able to, or are even now able to, give individual attention. So in a big classroom where a teacher is not able to give individual attention to individual problems, one of the strengths of the virtual labs is that it is tailor-made, it's customized, it will understand your problem, it will understand that you put that apostrophe again and again in yours, and tailor-made make an exercise for you to correct that. A teacher in a classroom may not be able to notice that. And apart from that, digital humanities is a very big field now, where there is data mining to understand linguistic trends, syntax of sentences, also literary trends, how great writers use sentences, what kind of stylistics they use, and which will be used, will be very useful for future writers, for literary innovations and so on and so forth. So that's an overview of what is happening in the digital world and how the virtual labs work and what the future of the virtual labs is. But we will demonstrate today Diksha's virtual lab, and which is what we've been doing this week to demonstrate the tools available to you on the Diksha platform. These have exercises, these have comprehension exercises which will improve your skills, reading skills as well as comprehending skills. There is also art integrated learning modules in it, where there are some fun exercises with pictures and stuff, and of course you get instant feedback of whether you are doing things the right way or you need to improve. Right, so that was roughly an overview of what a virtual lab is and what Diksha's virtual lab is.
And theoretically, we have understood about Diksha, about virtual labs, and how all virtual labs they can be helpful in learning English. So let's try our hands on the demonstrations.
Absolutely. So you have to go on diksha.gov.in and virtuallabs.html after that. So, or you can just Google Diksha, and once you go to Diksha, then go to the virtual labs tab, and there's an introduction, and then there's the content. So currently it's in nascent stage. There isn't stuff in English for everyone, and while we are using English as a demo, this holds for all languages. Whatever I have said, machine is learning equally well about other languages, and there are similar modules, exercises, feedback about all of the languages. We are using English just as an example because incidentally I am a student of English, let's say. So currently on Diksha's virtual labs e-content, we have grades 7, 8 and 9, and it's being developed. So there in future there will be content for all classes and much more content, but right now it's for these 3 classes. So let's have a look. Which class should we look at?
So shall we go for class 7th?
Sure, let's go for class 7. So here is virtual labs e-content. You can see grade 7, click on explore. Let's click on English medium, let's click on English. Alright. So here we have passive to active voice conversion, active to passive voice conversion, singular plural conversion activity. So let's try this passive to active voice conversion first. Alright. So as you can see, this has got various elements over here. There is a theoretical component which explains in a nutshell what the idea of the subject is. Here the subject concerned is voice, what is active voice, what is passive voice. Then there is a tab called procedure, which tells you how to use that, which is but the software is really user friendly, so we can really skip that. But in case you have any difficulty, go back to it. There is the lab component where we will have the exercise. At the end of it, there is a Viva Voce component, a reference component which tells you what the books for further reading are, which are very important, as well as the websites, because this is just a little compendium and just a few exercises. But for an in-depth study, of course, one must go to a proper book or a detailed official website of an institution. So example, here we have British Council's resource, and as well we have from High School English Grammar by Renan Martin, which is one of my favorite books. I also studied in childhood. And at the end of it, there is feedback. If you find any whatever feedback you have, good, bad and ugly, about the exercises, about the portal, you can post it over here, and we are constantly improving with your feedback. Alright, so let us look at passive to active voice conversion. Now since we are doing a little grammar, I will also quickly say what these things are before jumping into the exercise itself. So here it says voice is a grammatical category which makes it possible to view the action of a sentence in 2 ways without change in facts report. So voice is the voice, the way in which the sentence is being constructed. So it's a grammatical category, but here to make it simpler, let us say what kind of a voice you are speaking in. There is a voice of action and there is a voice of reception. To make it simpler in some other way, for example, you read a book, you are an active participant. You read a book about whatever, a princess and a fairy tale. You imagine the whole situation in front of your eyes. You construct your own princess and the king and the demon and everything else. Whereas when you see a movie, you are a passive recipient. Whatever princess I show you, that will be the princess's image cast in your mind. So, active voice is something in which you are actively constructing an action. Passive is in which the subject of the sentence is receiving the action. That is roughly the difference, but it is only the voice, the matter will not change. Whatever has happened is just two perspectives of seeing something. So, for example, let us say the dog bit me. So, one way of saying it is the dog bit me, and the other way of saying is I was bitten, without naming the dog. So, it is a different, just a different way of saying it. The matter has not changed, the subject matter has not changed. All right. So, I believe that and it is easy to identify an active voice. So, for example, the example given over here is John wrote the letter. If you ask the question who or what to the verb, you get the subject. Who wrote the letter? John wrote the letter. So, that is how it is constructed. So, the active sentence is John wrote the letter. The passive sentence is a letter was written by John. Sometimes by John is not mentioned. A letter was written is the passive voice, where the subject is in focus. All right, let us go to lab and let us try this exercise. All right, so here you have to enter a name. I will enter my name. Okay, you got it?
Okay, so there we are.
Oh, I think we have different sentences on our screens. So, never mind, we'll use mine. So, the sentence says a bike is, and you can tell me the answer and I can navigate it over here. So, the sentence in passive voice is a bike is driven by Priya. So, as you can see that the focus is on bike, the object. Right? The active person is Priya, is the subject, and object is bike which is being driven. Anyway,
So
the sentence here is the bike is driven by Priya. So, now we have to make it active.
Okay, so it can be Priya drives
Priya
a bike.
drives a bike. Okay. So, Priya is the subject who is actively driving a bike.
Bike, yeah.
Right. Okay. Let us see. Your answer is correct. Wonderful.
Let's go to the next one.
Let's go to the next one. A scooter is driven by Charles.
So it's also easy. Charles drives a scooter.
Charles drives a scooter because Charles is the subject. So, the subject will come at the beginning and then the verb and then the object shifts to the end. So, Charles drives a scooter. I hope, I think that this answer is correct. This answer is correct.
Okay.
Very good. So, these are a couple of examples of passive voice to active voice. Now, there is a viva voce at the end of it also. Shall we try it? That should be common.
Yes, it is common.
Okay, great.
So,
All right. The first one says our army has been defeated. Like I said, in a passive voice sentence, the subject may be obliterated. It can be done away with. So, our army has been defeated, which means somebody has defeated our army.
Okay.
So, let us convert this to active voice.
Okay, so we have 4 options.
Right.
The first one says the enemy has defeated our army. Then army defeated, the enemy was defeated by our army, the enemy has won the battle. I think it's the first one. The enemy has defeated our army.
Okay, and why do you say so?
Okay, because there has to be someone who defeats the army.
Right.
And of course, it's the enemy.
It's the enemy.
And
It
then has been, it's used. So, of course, I was looking for has.
has the present perfect.
Yes.
Okay. The second one is I know her.
So, she knows me or she is known to me. I am known to her, or she does not know me. I know her, this could be she is known to me. Second one.
Okay. Because the knowledge is coming from me. So I have to, she is known to me, therefore. It's not the other way that I am known to her, which would mean that she knows me. Okay. We shall be blamed by everyone.
Everyone shall blame me, or we shall blame everyone, or everyone will blame us, or everyone will be blamed by us. So the sentence is we shall be blamed by everyone. So it can be the third one, everyone will blame us. Is it?
Yes.
Okay, let's try.
Very good. The ship was set on fire and abandoned by the crew.
So the crew set the ship on fire and abandoned ship. No, it can't be there. The crew set the ship on fire and abandoned it. Okay, the crew set it on fire and abandoned. The crew set on fire. Second one.
The crew set the ship on fire and abandoned it. Why not
Yeah.
the first one?
Because instead of ship towards the last, I believe it will be more convenient.
Yeah, you cannot use the object twice. You have to use a pronoun for it. So that's the it pronoun over here. Why should I be suspected by you?
Okay, this one is difficult.
Okay.
Why should I be suspected by you? Why
So who is suspecting? That's
Why
like I
should
said,
I?
the answer who or what will give you the answer. Who is suspecting me? You are suspecting me in this sentence, right?
Why should I be suspected by you? So you, there's a someone else.
Yeah,
is
the you
suspecting
is suspecting me,
Yes.
right? So you should see where the you is suspecting me. So the first one, for example, says, why should you suspect me?
Yes.
Yes.
Or not the second one, but the third one. Why should I be the suspect?
Why should I be the suspect is also
That's
correct.
close.
That's also correct, but the subject you is missing over there.
Okay, okay. So
I think so. Let's try.
go for the first one.
Let's go for the first one.
Okay,
Yeah.
so let us submit.
Okay.
So so
Eureka.
there are
All of it is correct.
Okay.
Wonderful.
Yes. So we got them right, but also we can get them wrong.
We can get them wrong. And
That's
if
a
you,
possibility.
And if you get them wrong, for example, let's do one wrong. Our army has been defeated. Let's say army defeated. And then you submit it and then it will show it as wrong.
Yes.
So there is instant feedback. There are 4 options. You've got one wrong, and so you can try again and see what mistake you've made. And in many places, you will see with many of these exercises, it gives you a feedback also of where you're going wrong. Not in this one because this is a Viva, but in the lab section of it, it will give you options for that also.
Okay.
All right, let's try something else. Let's try same singular plural conversion activity of class 7. English medium and
Okay, so it's singular plural.
right. Now this is also a very interesting area because there are many rules of forming plurals out of singular, and that is because English is really a conglomeration of languages. English has been formed in a very through waves of history. So first the Germans came to England, the Anglo-Saxons came in 12th century, and then there was a whole wave of colonization in which the British went to Africa, to India, to America, and the language kept evolving as they kept interacting with different people, picking up different words. And the root words through German and Saxon are from Latin and Greek, like many of the Hindi words are from Sanskrit and Persian. And so different rules apply depending on where a word has come from. So there are many Hindi words in English. For example, shampoo is a Hindi word. Did you know that? The shampoo
I
is a
didn't.
Hindi word. So champi, as you know, the massage.
Yes, yes.
The champi became shampoo because champi was done on head, and so champi became shampoo. Or Juggernaut. Jagannath became Juggernaut. And Juggernaut, the word means something that is difficult to move or difficult to stop, because the Juggernaut's chariot is such a heavy thing.
Okay.
So Jagannath became Juggernaut. And similarly, so English adopted words from all over the world. The French words like rendezvous or tat or different, which will be written very differently in English, and you will not be able to figure out the pronunciation unless you have heard. Rendezvous, for example, is rendezvous. You will think it's rendezvous, but it's rendezvous because it's a
French word.
So because of this, the rules of plurals are from different languages, and so suddenly you are stumped as to why your answer is not correct. For example, what is the plural of medium?
Okay, I believe it is, I don't want to say mediums.
You don't want to say mediums because you want to say mediums, but you know it's wrong, because and you don't know because our instinct is to
medium.
Exactly. So media, the word that we use and we think of as television and social media and this and that, it's actually a plural of medium. And medium is, what is a medium? Anything that is used as a go-between to communicate. In Hindi, madhyam. And so because it's a Latin word, most Latin words end in um, and the plural would be ia. So medium becomes media.
Yeah.
Right? So let's see. There are different. If we do this activity, we will see some of these things. So here you see in theory that different kinds of plurals have been given, where the S ending is given, where ES ending is given. The S ending is the most common: numbers, trees, etc. And ES ending, buffalo will become buffaloes, potato will become potatoes with ES at the end. The ones ending in O become plural with merely using an extra S. Logos, dynamos, IES, baby becomes babies, lady becomes ladies, IES, and then there is VES, thief, what ends in EF will become EVES, so thief will become thieves, knife, knives, wife, wives. Also FS will become VES, dwarf, dwarfs. So many of these things, many of these different rules have to be learnt. English is a language of exceptions. So which is why one has to work very hard with English, because there are so many rules. There are more exceptions than there are rules. But anyway, let's do a quick exercise.
Okay.
I wonder if we have the same exercise again.
The brilliant man. Okay, it's different.
Okay,
let's take yours.
Let's look at mine. Okay. Change the highlighted words to the plural form and fill in the appropriate verb which matches the tense of the question. The man teaches the good-looking girls. The highlighted word is girls, a girl, and so we have to make it plural and make the verb agree with that.
Okay.
So, okay. So just make a plural of this sentence in short.
It will be girls.
Okay, let's take girls.
And should we also make a plural for man? No.
Oh, no, whatever is highlighted. So only the girl is highlighted over here. And then the verb?
The man is teaching the good-looking girls.
No, we have to do a simple present.
Teaches the good-looking girls.
So teachers remains teachers. Okay. Right.
Okay.
Now we can also change the tense. So the woman protects the brave girl. We are here woman and girl both are highlighted. So let's try.
So the women.
What is the spelling? There are so many spellings.
WOMEN.
Okay. And you can see there are many spellings of women. You should know the right spelling. WOMEN.
The women protects the brave girls.
Women protects the brave girls. But I think we are going wrong, because from woman it has become women.
Oh yes.
And in plural, what will happen?
So it will be protect.
It should be protect.
So let's try. Yes, the
Okay.
women protect the brave girls.
All right.
Okay, it's
There you
correct.
go. So, as you can see, this gives items, result, description and remedy. If we went wrong, let's try by going wrong. The women, what you were saying earlier,
The women protects,
Let's
or
say
okay,
protecting.
protecting the brave girls.
there you go, and it gives a remedy also. Select correct verb from repository. So, it points out what your mistake is. All right. So, these are some examples, and there are multiple exercises. Unfortunately, we have run out of time. I wanted to show you the art integrated learning aspect of it also, but you can explore it on your own. You've seen it how. Now, I think we have run out of time, right?
Of course, and for any queries, obviously our viewers can reach out to us through the mail ID that's flashing on your screens. You can also give us a call at 8800 440 559. And thank you so much, sir,
Thank you so
for
much.
being here in this conversation and teaching us about the different aspects of English and how virtual labs can be beneficial for us. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much.
Thank you to all the viewers also who have connected with us. Let me quickly take you across the website of CIET, where you may find more information about the 5 days online training program. So let's have a look at our screens. So as you can see that it's the home page of CIET website. All you have to do is click on events. Then the third last option says a workshop/training. So once you click at the option under current activity, you'll be able to see that the program is titled as Online Training on Pedagogical Perspective of Virtual Labs on Diksha. So let's scroll down, and here you can see the detailed banner where the all the titles and the topics of the programs have been placed for all of you against the days and the days of the programs. So the objective of the training program is to explain the policy recommendations for the requirement of virtual labs, then describing the significance of using virtual labs in teaching, learning and assessments. Also describing the scope of virtual labs in developing experimentation skills and exploring the different possibilities of integrating virtual labs in teaching, learning, assessment of English, science and mathematics. Now, who all can participate? This is with regard to the post-session activity, whether it's the students, teachers, teacher educators, parents, administrators or general public. You all can participate in the 5 days online training program. This is the detailed program schedule where you can see it's the day and the date of the program, followed by the titles of the sessions and the name of the resource persons. Then in any case, if you haven't watched any of our videos or you have missed our live training sessions, then you don't have to worry, because once you reach this website, here are the links of the videos that are available for you. Once you click on the link, you will be able to see the videos or the recorded sessions of our live training programs. So tomorrow it's Friday and it's the day 5th of our online training program. It's on 14th of July, where we are going to discuss at length about pedagogical usage of virtual labs for science. Then let's scroll a bit down and how we all can participate in our post session activity. For that, the step 1 is registration. You can register yourself by clicking on this link or either by scanning the QR code that is there on your screens. Step number 2 is watching all our live training sessions. You can watch them through PME Vidya channel 6 to 12, also through NCERT official, or as I just informed you that we have placed the links at this web page for all of you. Then participation in the post session activity and certification, this remains the most important aspect. If you participate in the post session quiz and you score over 70%, then you can receive a certificate as well. So if you score 70% and still you do not receive any certificate, so don't worry, do check your spam mails as well, and also within a month you will be able to receive the certificate. Otherwise, you can always write to us through the different mail IDs and you can reach out to us through our contact number. Then the opening date of the quiz, it's 14th of July 2023 by 6 PM. Quiz link will be uploaded here. Then the closing date is 14th August 2023. So that means you get 1 month to submit your entries, watch our complete training sessions and submit them wisely. You will be able to submit the entries only once. So you all know that your feedback matters a lot, and the feedback form is intended to know your experiences, your learnings and your suggestions. So do write to us, do fill this feedback form by clicking on the Google link or either by scanning the QR code. Still, if you have any of the queries, you can reach out to us through the mail ID that is flashing on your screens. It is training.helpdesk@ciet.nic.in. And once again, thanking all of you for being a part of the 4th day of our live training program. Tomorrow also we will be there with you for the 5th day of our online training program. And viewers, before wrapping up this conversation, there is an important piece of information for all of you. It is regarding the availability of NCERT textbooks. So, as you all know that NCERT textbooks for the academic year 2023 to 2024, they are available all across the country, and you can purchase them directly from NCERT sales counters that are located at New Delhi, Ahmedabad, Bangalore, Kolkata and Guwahati. Also, if you would like to place an order online for NCERT textbooks, then you may do it from the website that's flashing on your screens. It is www.ncert.ncert.gov.in. And besides this, if you would like to download the soft copy or the PDF version of NCERT textbooks, then it can be done through different mediums, and one of them is Diksha platform, another one is ePathshala website, then also NCERT's mobile application. To know more or to explore more about authorized vendors, feel free to explore and visit the website of NCERT. That's the official website, www.ncert.nic.in. And viewers, do not go anywhere, because next up we have our session of Sahyog, guidance for mental well-being and psychosocial support to all the students and viewers watching our programs out there. So keep watching Evidya channels and stay tuned with NCERT official. Namaskar.